A little bit about Barbara Bush. Barbara Bush was mean-spirited. Barbara Bush was mean. Borat said that she was like a man. She was mannish. And look how, Jeb and I guess he has a little swagger. He tries to be some kind of, cowboy, tough guy. But Jeb was like, hey now, a total wimp. And that's the thing is that in right-wing conservative America, it's okay to be a right-wing fascist. But if you have a little bit of tension or a little bit of conflict, you just fire everybody, right? But I actually believe that if we are more honest with ourselves, that there's going to be tension, there's going to be conflict, and we're going to have to, not go ape shit just because, oh, wait, you're not a fascist or a fascist bootlicker. You're one of those independents. So she was mean-spirited. She'd said something about Hurricane Katrina, that the poor black people, they were, they had better lives now. So it's a good thing that Hurricane Katrina went ahead and wiped out 25,000 homes and made them all homeless. And that's pretty shitty. That's pretty shitty. I guess that's not like Chris Kyle, who is on top of the Superdome and shooting people, which is what he says. So Barbara Bush, she says that Clarence Thomas was a good man, so she's defending this sexually harasser, and he'd been smeared by Anita Hill. And she goes, is this woman telling the truth? I don't want to sit in judgment, but, a Yale law school student, a woman in the 80s, would put up with harassment for a moment, much less follow the harasser from job to job, come call him when she came back to town, and later invite him to speak to her students at Oral Roberts University. So, yeah, what's weird about that is that recently we just heard that Papa Bush was going around sitting there saying, he's David Copperfield. He's just grabbing, women who wants to take a picture with him, just grabbing their asses and then making, a lame joke so he could get his jollies. So, just a dirty old man, right? So, that's, what a weirdo, right? She has been defended this David Copperfield Papa Bush. The only the major two policies is the Iraq War. So she sucked the dick of a warmonger, and then she gave birth to a warmonger. And now we're in basically the Bush American, or the Kissinger, American century. We're an empire. And we suck at being the world's policeman. We take all the accolades and the power and any of the glory and honor that is bestowed upon being the world's policemen. And so we can bomb Syrians whenever the fuck we want to. Nobody's going to fuck with us. But is that the legacy we want? I'm pretty sure that eventually people will fuck with us. There's no, and then what the hell does that do? That doesn't do any good for us. We need to be anti-murder. We need to not, so the 2.4 million Iraqi people, that's her legacy. That's her legacy. This has nothing to do with Barbara Bush. It all actually has to do with the Little Prince, because there's a section in the Little Prince where it almost seems like because Barbara Bush picked being a wife and a mother, which, has a role in society, but that's what they're trying to say is that she's legendary because she stayed behind the scenes and didn't participate, didn't push any policies. She was advocate for literacy. Okay, well, I'm for literacy. Go literacy. So she's mean, she's dominating, she produced wimpy Jeb. Weak people are evil. She told him to man up against Donald Trump. She is a drunk. She's caustic, judgmental, fiercely calculating piece of shit. She's a vindictive drunk. She married into the Nazi wealth crime syndicate, Prescott Bush. The way the Bushes got their money was through the Nazis. So they said she fought against homelessness. Great job there, right? What, I don't want to say 50 million, but 10 million? How many homeless do we got? A shit ton of homeless all in every major city, everywhere, actually. We have homeless everywhere. And she was opposed to segregation. So there's a few good things. So an obvious thing, are you a racist, white supremacist? So that's kind of that's actually wonderful. But I feel like we're grasping at straws here. So the Little Prince, he's just supposed to tolerate a flower no matter what the hell she does. It doesn't matter if she was a good person. It doesn't matter if she got water out to the poor. It doesn't matter if she accomplished a single goddamn thing in her fucking life. We're just supposed to appreciate her for pure perfuming all over the planet and making, I guess, Papa Bush happy. Clearly not happy enough if he's grabbing everybody else, in sight. So, Barbara Bush is all mannish, but because she's a woman, we're going to treat her like a delicate flower. Don't ever speak ill of the dead, and yet whenever any of these black folks are killed, automatically, they're being tarnished. So she said on the Iraq War, just to show you her mean-spiritedness, right? So the Katrina thing, disaster happens. It's a huge debacle for Baby Bush. But she says, well, it made their lives better, right? Oh, yeah, you're fucking crazy and racist. And no, it didn't. And her beautiful mind didn't want to think about the Iraqi bodies. So they're saying, what about all the people that had got killed? She's like, I have a beautiful mind, and I just don't want to think about all those dead Iraqis. That means you don't have a beautiful mind. Jink and Anna were right about this. That you don't want to think about the Iraqi bodies because they're not people to you. They weren't human beings. So her beautiful mind, right? What? To just stay positive, to stay in her own little tiny bubble, to go make some cupcakes. And did she even make cupcakes? Was she a good mother and wife? She seems mean. She seems like a dominating oppressor. She's the boss and everybody has to kiss her ass, and that's why she's got a bunch of wimpy kids who's evil and wicked, and they don't mind, blowing the shit out of Iraqi people from millions of miles away. So that's, if there's any policies, right, it would be her husband and her son's policies, and Jeb's too, so there is a dynasty there. So that's the reason why she's an insider, right? So we're all supposed to just say, oh, Barbara did such a good job. She didn't do anything. She did nothing. So apparently there's something about Aleister Crowley. She's the daughter of the satanic pervert, so we don't even know who her dad is. And then she also said something about Geraldine Ferraro was a bitch. So, Barbara she's mean-spirited. She didn't care about the Iraqi people that were being killed, right? Just like Madeleine Albright, they're willing to sacrifice 500,000 Iraqi children. And the 2.4 million Iraqi people, she don't even blink an eye to it. And we have ushered into an American empire, an American century, where the empire, and that's precisely how every empire has failed. Every empire has failed. So, empire doesn't help me. I'm definitely an anti-imperialist, like Mark Twain. Okay. Now we're on The Little Prince, right? Oh, Barbara Bush is just a little flower, right? No, she wasn't. She was the opposite of a little flower. She was scary. She's a psycho. She wasn't delicate. And she had white hair, so, she's 92. That's another thing. These hateful, mean-spirited people live for such a long time. It's like hatred allows them to keep on living on and on and on. So I want to read, actually, this. This is the whole point of it, but I did want to start out with that Barbara Bush thing. We're not supposed to speak ill of the dead. Nah, there was one guy that said, I hope that somebody has the courage to hate I hope my enemies have the courage to hate me after I'm dead. And that's, another lady was talking about how she was a racist, and she was a racist, so that's, totally acceptable. Who gives it? We're supposed to just pretend that all these people are good even though they're not. Alright, so let's go to chapter 8 in The Little Prince. The Little Prince, I enjoy this book, and it does make me feel like I should open my eyes, but it just seems like we're going to give this flower like every excuse in the world to sort of be very vain and conceited and selfish and stupid. And, the Little Prince takes it upon himself like he should have known. He should have realized that it should have brought him to pity. But it's like she's a dingy little child, and you're supposed to just allow her to be a dingy little child. I find it, when women are serious, basically I find you attractive or I don't find you attractive. That is, I think it's women too. And, but I find it attractive. If you're an attractive woman, you can be dingy, and I guess I'll feel, morally superior, and that might be titillating. But I think it'd be titillating just if you were serious. There was a very professional nurse at the hospital. She's gorgeous. She was very attractive. She, I feel like, I don't know if she had a hard go at, hard-headed men, but she kind of goes in there, was like, this thing happened, we didn't find nothing. So she was being very serious, very in my face, and all I could think was, how beautiful, how wonderful, how delicate. And she was, she did her hair and stuff, so there was a flower-esque to her, and she was a serious person. So I found that very sexy. So, I don't see why we keep forgiving these, dingy little children. I want a equal. I want a woman, and, I guess we have to get along with our egos and our will to power. We have to figure that out. Fuck off. You're pushing me. No, I don't want to do that shit. So fuck off, please. Can you respect that I control my own, life? So, there's a will to power. So if somebody's trying to get your attention, you're trying to do something else. But I feel like equality is the way. have those hard conversations. I would rather have somebody who tells me the things that, I guess I don't want to hear, but need to hear. And perhaps I don't, but, I would rather have somebody there so I consider it and I turn it over in my mind. But I guess the thing that's lacking is enemies will always be shitty to you. And so perhaps you should just rely on your enemies to tell you the truth. But I guess I want my friends to tell me the truth. I want my friends to tell me the truth, to have that kind of relationship to where we can correct ourselves instead of waiting for, you piss off enough people that you have enemies. All right. So, okay, this flower here, she thinks that she's born at the same time as the sun. She was born, right? He's got these baobabs, and he's got these other flowers. They're single with single row petals so that they took no room at all, and they got in no one's way. They would appear one morning in the grass and would fade by nightfall, but this one had grown from a seed brought from who knows where. He took careful attention to it, and then she eventually blossoms, and he gets to see, the full radiance of her beauty. And she was quite vain, and her mysterious adornment had lasted days and days. And one morning, precisely at sunrise, she showed herself. After having labored so painstakingly, she yawned and said, I'm hardly awake. Forgive me, I'm still untidy. But the little prince couldn't contain his admiration. How lovely you are! Aren't I the flower, it said sweetly, and I was born the same time as the sun. So why are we going to allow her to get away with that? She is born at the same time as the sun? No, the sun has been around for billions of years, and it's going to continue to be around for billions of years, even after you're dead. So why would I sit there and be like, oh, that's so, yeah, you're right. You're born at the same moment as the sun? No, you're not, okay? So she wasn't too modest, but she was so dazzling. And it's breakfast time, and she's like, will you be so kind as to tend to me? And then he gets a watering can and he starts tending to her. So this, beauty is one thing, but being useful is another thing too, right? So what use does this flower give, right? He automatically, as soon as she is born, she's born as the same moment as the sun, right? And then she's getting him to be his slave. Go tend to me. And because she has all the power, she's not going to respect him. And, she shits on him and she's mean to him. She begins to torment him with her touching vanity. One day, for instance, alluding to her 4 thorns, she says she's ready for the tigers, right? Little tiny Rose, who's got 4 little thorns. You're going to fight a tiger, right? Well, he's like, well, I don't have tigers, right? She's like, it doesn't matter because I can protect myself. No, you fucking can't. You're going to fucking die. If there's a tiger and you think your damn thorns are going to fucking do a goddamn thing, you're going to die. So, you do not allow the little flower to go on thinking that she's got these thorns that's going to hurt everybody. The little flower is the exact opposite of Barbara Bush. There is no little flower to Barbara Bush at all. If anything, she's the dominating part, but not the, perfuming all over the planet kind of part. So he goes, there's no tigers, and then he says, tigers don't eat weeds, and then she's like, I'm not a weed. And he's like, forgive me, I can understand that. He says, she goes on, she's not afraid of tigers, but she's got a horror of drafts. You wouldn't happen to have a screen. A horror of drafts, that's not a good sign for a plant. You're not afraid of tigers that can just, bite you and pull you right out like it was nothing, step on you, crush all your damn petals. But the wind, that's what, I guess a hard wind could be bad enough. But being a plant, I don't know, you're always outside. You got to be able to take that wind. After dark, you'll put me under a glass. How cold it is where you live, where I come from. So here's another mistake, right? She's already, keeps on lying, just keeps on saying these incredible things. And he's, naive and thinking, wow, she's wonderful and beautiful. So he's not, he don't want to piss her off and correct her. But she needs some correcting, doesn't she? Don't we all, I guess? We need a repertoire. If we have a repertoire, then we can, we can go back and forth and it's good time for the most part. But you're on some bullshit. You need somebody, a friend to call you out. It's like having a piece of spinach in your teeth. You need a friend that'll tell you got spinach in your teeth. So you're not going around smiling at everybody like a douchebag. But your enemies will say, hey, you got spinach. Hey, everybody, look at old spinach face, right? So your enemies will really make a go at it, whereas a friend could be like, just take you off the side. Hey, man, you want to pick your teeth, get yourself together. Shit, get your shit together. Damn spinach up in your teeth. What the hell? You couldn't feel it? You didn't see it? You don't brush your teeth after you eat? What is going on with you? So now she's sitting there saying, where I come from, well, she was a seed from some other place. She has no awareness or consciousness of where she came from. So she's acting like his place is all cold. But where she came from was what? Nice and warm and comfortable? She has no idea. If anything, she was born on that planet. So where she came from is where he came from. They both are on the same planet. They both were born. there. So humiliated at having let herself be caught on the verge of so naive a lie, she coughed 2 or 3 times in order to put the little prince in the wrong. What the fuck? So she gets to lie, and then he's being made to feel stupid, and then later on he's going to feel bad about this. He basically says, I shouldn't have listened to her. You must never listen to the flowers. You must look at them and smell them. Mine perfumed my planet, but I didn't know how to enjoy that. The business about the tiger claws, instead of annoying me, ought to have moved me. And he confided further, in those days I didn't understand anything. I should have judged her according to her actions. Her actions is what? Just blossoming and sitting there? She perfumed my planet, lit up my life. I should have never have run away. Perhaps that's true, but if she's tormenting you and lying to you and just basically treating you like an asshole, for what? Because he adores her, because he loves her, so therefore he's got to take her bullshit? I say no. I like truth and I like respect, and her just being so damn vain, and eventually, he's going to leave, but she's going to say, you're being silly too. I might have been silly. So she takes some responsibility. So this is actually, this isn't typical of flowers. So uprooted, so he's doing all these things, he's leaving, okay? So he should have realized the tenderness underlying her silly pretensions are so contradictory, but he was too young to know how to love her, so he's going to leave. He feels like she's not happy with him, so he's like, all right, I'm going to go, figure this thing out, and I'm going to go leave. And she says, it was my fault that you never knew. It doesn't matter, but you were just as silly as I was. So she at least, is holding herself accountable. It was my fault that you didn't know. That of course I love you. Of course I love you. Oh, yeah, but I guess if you're trying to control and oppress and humiliate and torment and torture a motherfucker who loves you, yeah, I guess you don't want to tell him, because that would put you on an equal, on an even keel. And then they might get an ego, and then you'll never be able to control them again. Well, but then you don't love a person if you have to oppress them. If you must oppress somebody, you don't love them. You only love what you can get them to do. And that's not a relationship at all. You don't, she did not love the little prince. She says, of course I do. So she had affection in her heart, but she allowed her own ego and her own pride prevent her from ever expressing that. So, and then she says, put the glass thing down, so she doesn't even need the glass anymore. Her cold isn't that bad. And then the animals, she's like, just the caterpillars. And you know what? I'm ready for the big animals. I got claws. And she's like, don't hang around like this. It's irritating. You made up your mind to leave. Now go. So she's ordering him to go, right? She doesn't order him to stay and love her. And I'm sorry for tormenting you and lying to you and pretending that I'm a lot bigger than what I actually am. I like to dance a little bit, but, snap the fuck out of it. You need to understand some reality, too. So, there's nothing wrong with being caught up in the magic and, of love, but to also, there's got to be an underground, an underneath realization of the truth. She says, go. You've already made up your mind to leave, so go. And he does it, because he, does what she wants. And whatever reason, I don't know why he actually wants to leave. But, because she's terrorizing him. She's fucking torturing the fuck out of him. She's like, oh, this thing is true, and it's not true. And he has to be like, oh, yeah, I guess it is true. But if it was like, okay, I don't mind flirting with you and all, but your thorns ain't going to fucking do a thing. You're going to get, hell, if I leave, you might die, that something might just, a rock might just fall over your way and you can't do a thing about it. So I'm actually quite essential to your very survival. If I leave, it kills him and it kills the flower. They both die. So the flower, for the sake of her own survival, could have showed a little humility. But no, as soon as she's born the same moment as the sun. Nah, sorry, sweetheart. Sun's been around for millions, billions of years, going to be here around for another billion years. And then as soon as I'm born the same time as the sun, now can you slave to me? Can you tend to me? Can you water me? Can you get the, glass? And then cough, cough, oh, you're such an asshole. Cough, cough. You don't even know what's going on, right? Trying to make him feel bad. And then he said he was going to look for a screen, but she was speaking to him. And then she coughs to put him in the wrong. Right? Oh, where I came from, where you came from, you don't even know where you came from. You were a seed when you blew onto my planet. And then she made herself cough again in order to inflict a twinge of remorse on him all the same. So this is Taylor Swift. She wants to say, boys like torture. Don't say I didn't try to warn you. No, I hate torture. I can't stand it at all. Like, it might be it might be a titillating, but I feel like I'm actually scared of that, yeah, more than anything. So, I don't mind a little poke. I don't mind a little joshing from friends. If we have a repertoire, then that's a good thing. That's probably the ideal relationship, isn't it? Most of the time, good feelings, good, positive vibes, but also somebody who's real enough with you to be like, hey, listen, you've been lying around the house and you've been depressed. You need to snap out of it. You want to get a hobby. You want to go get something. You know what I mean? You have thorns. No, you don't have thorns. And don't go around looking to fight some damn tigers because you think you can beat them up. And no, you weren't born the same moment as the damn sun. We're hungry over here. We need to tend to some crops. We need to make sure we can eat so we can continue to live. And you're over there sitting there saying that you're born the same moment as the sun and that your damn thorns can fight all the damn tigers. And that where you came from, that it was much warmer than it was on my planet when you came from the exact same planet. And then he feels tenderness because she's so vain. It's like a dingy child, right? She's just a silly little thing, a silly little cute little thing, right? A silly little pretty thing. And that's all she needs to be, a silly little pretty thing. I guess if she makes her man happy, good for her. That's wonderful. And if there's men that want, I don't know. It just seems like it sounds like hell. I want a partner. I want a teammate. I want somebody who can empathize with me, put themselves in my shoes. And when I go out and this thing happens, right, a good or bad thing happens, they can be like, oh, great. Oh, that sucks. Empathy, equality. That's all. That's what I'm asking for here. So he watered the flower. Goodbye. She coughed, didn't have a thing. And then, of course, she admits it, So I don't know. That seems uncharacteristic. But I guess since he's leaving, but then she orders him to leave. If she would have just said, no, stay. I love you. Stay. Please don't go. What the hell? You don't go. And then the little prince is going to die at the end. So really, if the flower wasn't such a, stuck-up little bitch, the little prince would still be alive. But he was willing to die because it gave him a chance to go back to his home planet to see her. So he gets a snake to bite him so he can go back. And it says it might look like he died. Of course he died. He did not go to see his flower. He's fucking dead. Yeah, dancing in heaven with all the damn... No, they're dead. And you need to realize that there was a person you loved on this planet, and now they're not alive and they're dead. And you need to get over that shit because we're all going to die. And it, hits us all. Don't hang around like this. It's irritating. You made up your mind to leave, so go. How about I love you? Stay. But she couldn't do that. So I don't understand the flower's bitchcraft. And then I don't understand how the little prince is supposed to tolerate her bitchcraft. We need to survive out here. And if she can't have any damn sense, I guess the only thing I could think of in defense of womankind being like this to make their man happy, they have to put on this illusion, this show, but it's, and he's into it, so there's enchantment, and if he can, she can make his life wonderful, then that's, wonderful and great, but if you're splitting each other apart, if you're letting each other, slip away, then that's horrible, that's stupid. Your vanity and your ego is destroying the relationship. So, I think a little bit of humility for the flowers out there. Barbara Bush is not a flower, she's just a mean asshole. So I think it is actually better to think of her more as a man. So just as a person, there's no flower part two. What do you mean, perfumed over whose planet? There is no perfuming over anybody's planet. So, I don't know. I guess, what am I trying to say here? I don't know. I can take you serious. I don't mind taking you serious. And have equality. So I think we all just need to learn to sort of talk to each other. We don't have to be so damn mean. But this flower she was mean. That was torture. The poor little fucking guy. And then he goes away feeling bad. Like, you know what? I should have just been moved to pity. No, you needed a friend. And you needed someone who could talk to you. And then you meet this pilot who can actually talk to you, And so it's passionate little story. And it sucks that the little prince eventually is going to die. But it's kind of like, I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit split on that. Because I could see myself falling for... a dingy, pretty woman who but I am scared of that, and I don't want one that's torturing me, definitely, and lying to me. And a nice professional, a nice lawyer, a doctor. I wouldn't mind a rich woman either, That would make life a lot easier. So, yeah. The Little Prince. I guess, in short, Barbara Bush is not the Little Prince. Or Barbara Bush is not the flower. And because the flower was such a, stuck-up little... just a bitch. She was just saying, vain and ego, he leaves her. And then what? We're supposed to be like, well, the poor flower, we're supposed to forgive her. I don't know. He did, she did try to say something at the end, but stay. If she could tell him, go get the damn thing, go do this, believe all my bullshit, why can't she say, look, I love you and I want you to stay? Does that take away from all of her feminine mystique? Does that take away from her magic? I don't think so. I think, if anything, it makes it better. And then once you've said the truth to each other, then you learn that it wasn't that bad, and now you get to live with it. You said your piece, the other one said their piece, and now, hear me out, and, this is why I think, and then maybe I should change. So I think that's actually how you learn. That's how you learn. But if I'm supposed to sit there and believe your lies... Oh yeah, you were born the same moment as the sun. Of course you were. Of course you were, dear. Versus, Barbara Bush. Maybe we needed something in between these two things. A serious oppressor. No, fuck the oppression bullshit. But, she could be a serious person. I could take you, if you're occupation, right? If you're a good landscaper or something, I'll listen to your landscaping ideas. Chess. I can listen to female coders talk about chess and artificial intelligence. So, yeah. I don't know exactly what I'm saying here. Barbara Bush is on this side. The Little Prince is on this side. Or the flower from the Little Prince is on this side. The rose with 4 tigers. So she killed them both. Basically because she was a shithead. They both died. I don't know. I don't know. So really the prince's problem was... he wasn't rich enough, he couldn't take care of her, and he was listening to her because he needed a friend, he's all by himself. And he took her serious. He loved her, and he took her serious. So that was the Little Prince's mistake. He should have loved her and be like, oh, you dumb little bitch, you dumb, stupid, you dumb, dingy little thing, you pretty little thing, who gives a shit? You could say whatever dumb shit you want to say, and you know what, I guess if that works... but it feels dishonest, and, yeah, I reject it. And, I guess that's it for now.